And we're rolling.
Can't believe you're the one who caught that. 3, 2.
Mike O'Mara, Radio Entertainment. Hix Nix Stix Pix, a podcast about Rob's movies with your hosts, Rob Spewak and Josh Sroka. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let the show begin.
Welcome to Hix Nix Stix Pix. I'm the Rob that the AI guy mentioned. These are my movies. This is Josh. He's the guy who watches my movies. And sometimes it's a success and sometimes it ain't.
And sometimes I'm forced.
That's right.
Well, I guess I'm always forced.
Well, no, but sometimes I think you always feel forced, but then at the end, sometimes you feel like I've helped. But most of the time you feel forced.
No. Generally, we always cover movies that I feel like I should have seen at some part.
Yeah,
I know a little bit about.
Yeah, I mean, it's all part of being culturally, what is it? Your cultural IQ or whatever it is. So you just know what goes on in the past. And as we get older, these things get further and further in the past, which always flips me out. If I start thinking about like when I was, 20, things that happened 40 years ago, it's a lot longer than when you're 55. It's just the amazing way things keep switching. And so some of these movies, I have no reason to think that anyone besides my kids, because I forced them, would have seen them.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah. And I won't make my kids watch any of these movies.
No.
But maybe when they're older.
No, still then, because by that time, they won't talk to you at all. Trust me, I know. They'll call you if they need money, but not for movie recommendations. Yes. So this is a service of the Mike O'Mara Show. Hope you check that out as well. But this week, I pulled out a movie that I think is woefully underappreciated, starring a guy who is sort of underappreciated because he doesn't get a lot of spin nowadays. I think the Three Stooges, who we've covered, and Laurel and Hardy, who we've covered, and the Marx Brothers sort of have a lasting legacy that outshines this guy.
Oh, but I can instantly watching this movie. I thought of multiple people that this guy inspired.
Yeah, 100%. But when I say W.C. Fields, I think the only touch point for a lot of people now is he's oftentimes portrayed in old Warner Brothers cartoons as a caricature of like a fat mouse or something. Just a guy with a big nose that hates everybody. But there's a lot of layers to his character. The movie is the unfortunately titled The Bank Dick. Now, I know that you can say in 1940 when this came out, the word dick was slang for a detective or a law enforcement guy. But I'm not sure Fields was going for that. The man we're talking about is, of course, W.C. Fields. The movie is The Bank Dick from Universal Pictures in 1940, directed by Edward Klein, starring W.C. Fields, Una Merkel, Grady Sutton, Franklin Pangborn, and for all you Three Stooges fans, Shemp Howard, who played Joe the bartender, brother of Mo Howard and Curly Howard, and eventually one of the Three Stooges.
Did he do much separate, or this is before the Three Stooges?
Well, it's sort of a checkered past for him because he was a stooge before Curly, left, Curly replaced him, then Curly got sick, and he came back into the act.
And they never wanted to make it the Four Stooges?
I don't think it was an option after the strokes. Everybody kept having strokes, and it made it very unfortunate.
Oh, it's kind of like the Mike O'Mara Show.
A little bit, yeah. Exactly. But Shemp had his own career, and he shows up as a comic supporting actor in several movies you see along the way. Universal player. He booked himself as the ugliest man in Hollywood, which is something that no one really fought him for. The movie is an hour and 12 minutes, and it is packed with comedy. Premiere Magazine voted this as one of the 50 greatest comedies of all time. And you know what? The more I watch it, I'm sort of inclined to agree, if only because it sets the stage for so many other things to follow. Now, I do have a question. When you were watching the credits, were you reading them or were you just getting past them?
No, I wasn't reading the credits.
Okay.
There's so many names, and they do the credits in these old movies before the movie starts. So,
Well, the credits are full of funny names. W.C. Fields loved funny names, but one of the best ones is the movie, it says, was written by Mahatma Cain Jeeves. Now, if you look at that, you say, that's not the most usual name I've ever heard. Well, it's a pseudonym for W.C. Fields. He didn't want to be credited as the writer. And so the derivation of the name is it used to be in an old movie when someone was going out on the town, they'd go up to the butler and they say, my hat, my cane, Jeeves. And he turned it into Mahatma Cane Jeeves. So there's that. Look, Josh is already thrilled.
You're changing my score.
Now let's talk about the bank pick. Okay, we open with the classic Universal fanfare and some fun credits that are animated with an exploding bank vault. And so you immediately think this is going to be the movie about a guy in a bank somehow, or a bank robbery. And It is. It just takes a long time to get there. There's a lot of funny names in there that we will discuss. And we open on the small town of Lompoc, California, which is the home of Egbert Sousé, which they say is not Souse. It's Sousé because there's an accent grave over the E. Now, were you familiar with the fact that souse means a drunk?
No.
In old slang, if you're soused, you're drunk, or if you're a souse. So the fact that he's Sousé, they're sort of doubting it. And for people that take French, it's actually an accent aigu, not an accent grave over the E. Not that it matters. We're just splitting hairs. So we meet the Sousé family. Agatha, the wife, Cora Witherspoon, mother-in-law, Hermosillo Brunch, played by Jessie Ralph, the annoying daughter, who is so annoying, Elsie Mae Adele Brunch Sousé, who is played by Evelyn Del Rio, and the pretty daughter, Myrtle Sousé, played by the lovely Una Merkel. A lot of these are, Fields made a lot of movies, and these are sort of like his core players. He liked these people, and they would show up in other movies as well. Now, it seems immediately that Sousé is not the best head of a household. He is, at the beginning of the movie, hiding in his room, trying to support the household by winning magazine slogans. Not a great plan. So he enters down to this miserable family that's talking bad about him, and he opens with a great sight gag. They accuse him of smoking, so he immediately swallows his cigarette into his mouth, which is a very clever piece of work that I'm sure was a practical effect. He's on his way to the saloon to read a detective magazine, which he takes from his daughter Elsie, and to pay him back, she throws a bottle and hits him in the head. Go ahead.
There's a lot of his daughter hitting him hitting his daughter.
Yes, it's not a great relationship,
no.
But it gives you in probably the span of 70 seconds what a miserable life they live.
And it's Three Stooges style hitting.
Yeah,
it's clearly fake. And
yeah, with big sound effects.
Yes.
The clunk of the bottle hitting the head is awesome, and it followed by him going, "No!" I mean, it's overplayed in a great way. So he leaves, and as he's going out, he meets Myrtle's boyfriend, who is awkward and none too bright, and his name is Og Ogleby. Og is short for Oglethorpe, of course. But I love when Fields says, Og Ogleby, sounds like a bubble in a bathtub. And that's, again, Fields just having fun with wordplay and names. And by the way, I know that if you watch this show, you know I'm something of a cunning mimic. I not only do Clark Gable and Frank Morgan, I do W.C. Fields, but I will try to keep it to a minimum during this review so as not to alienate Josh. That's my promise to you.
I need to hear it.
Oh, you do? All right, my good-looking, pointed-haired friend. Let us proceed with the advice at hand. Okay. I said it's better than my Clark Gable. No?
No.
Okay. On the way to the saloon.
Not enough energy.
Well, it depends on which era you get, Fields. I'm going to stand by it. On the way to the saloon, I love this bit. He encounters a chauffeur who has a broken car, and there's an old lady in the back of the car. This has nothing to do with the plot whatsoever.
Well, that's a lot of the movie. Makes no sense.
And he volunteers to help. I do honestly think, even though he's sort of an annoying know-it-all that thinks he can fix things and get away with stuff, I think Sousé is a helpful guy, and he thinks he can fix it. But he gets a monkey wrench, and in one turn, the whole engine falls out of the car. Great sight gag. And because it's an old car that has the venting on the side of the hood, that's how you see the motor fall out.
Right.
It is excellent. And of course, he's made an enemy in the chauffeur. And he closes out that scene, and he goes to his favorite drinking place. Were you shocked by the name The Black Pussy Cafe?
No.
Okay. On the door, you see, this was something that Fields had trouble with the censors and the people at Universal.
Even back then.
I mean, I know that you weren't using this kind of terminology in a lot of movies, but it still meant the same thing. And they said, well, you could call it the Black Pussycat Cafe, and that makes it a little less, objectionable. Yes. So on the door to the cafe, it says Black Pussycat Cafe. But on the window, the big sign still says Black Pussy Cafe. And that's how they continually refer to it throughout the entire movie. And don't think for a moment this is 1940 being, naive and not being aware of the joke. Fields knew exactly what he was doing. He loved to push the line. And I think that is something that sort of continued in Hollywood after him. There weren't a lot of comics that would really stand by that joke, which is really a non-joke, but it's in the movie without. Right. So they're in the Black Pussy Cafe. It's owned by Joe Guelpy. That's Shemp Howard. There's your Three Stooges guy. And Sousé does some what I would call ritualistic drinking, which Fields is known for. He does a great thing with a finger bowl and kicking a piece of paper towel over his back. Funny. For a fat, older guy, I'm always impressed with how deft and skillful he is at physical comedy. He doesn't seem limited by his size or his age. I think it's very cool. Now, I will call him here the Great Man. The Great Man meets up with a panicked movie producer, Mackley Q. Green, who had a director who's named A. Pismo Clam. Does that mean anything to you?
No. I don't think you'll find any of these names that mean anything to me.
Okay, Pismo Beach was a noted destination for clams, and Pismo clams were they were a delicacy in the 30s and 40s. So he is named A. Pismo Clam, and he's too drunk to work. So Sousé invents a story that he was a great silent film director. So Green invites him to take over the film. Now, again, nothing close to getting to a bank at all yet.
No.
And he's going to be a film director, and Fields delivers one of his greatest all-time lines in The Black Pussy.
Would you entertain a proposition to direct this picture? Take a gambler's chance on a percentage of the profits basis?
Yes, just a moment. Was I in here last night and did I spend a $20 bill?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, what a load that is off my mind. I thought I'd lost it.
So that is such a great encapsulation of the Fields character. He's a drunkard. He oftentimes says things that throws you in the other direction. He thinks that he might have lost the money, but he's okay with it because he just spent it on booze. Right. And $20 is a lot of money in 1940. And also the fact that he's putting himself totally above the situation, that he's about to be offered the job to be a movie director out of the blue. It's great.
I wish I had a job interview like that.
I know, right? So he takes the job. He grabs his 4 drinks, which, by the way, are absinthe shots. Gross. And he goes with the director, and he goes to the set, and he reimagines the script as a circus picture instead of what he calls an English drawing room drama. And the lead actors are suitably unimpressed. So he's being carried around the set in a director's chair by 4 footmen.
I love how little the female actress is.
The short, yeah. They've got the tall guy, and they make him even taller in a top hat.
Right.
And then I think he says to her, "Is she standing in a hole?"
Yes.
And it's a great sight gag because they both get out of the car. They look like they're the same height, and she's like 3.5 feet tall. So he's being carried around like he's some sort of prince, and he's spotted by his family. And his family just, of course, can't believe their eyes. And while he's it's a director's chair that's a rocking chair.
Yes.
And he does the greatest and maybe the lengthiest fall over backwards gag in that chair that I've ever seen. It takes 3 times as long as it should.
It's teased multiple times leading up to it also.
It is, but again, for an older guy and a heavy guy and doing his own stunt there, that's pretty adept as far as physical comedy. That's not easy to do. And I love that because it's just, you think twice he's going to save himself, and he still falls all the way backwards. His daughter demands to be in the picture, the annoying daughter. "Godfrey Daniels, leave me alone." And she says, "What's the matter, Pa? Don't you love me no more?" And he he's going to hit her. And he says, "Certainly I love you." So that's another great example of their relationship. Mother of pearl. Then, as the movie's about to start shooting, the gray man spots Joe the bartender again, returning to the cafe. So he just bails on the movie. He leaves and goes back to the Black Pussy Cafe to catch a drink. So he's drinking again, second time in the day. Cut to the Lompoc State Bank. Og Ogleby is the teller, and he gets robbed by two thugs, but they can't escape. They cannot escape because they parked illegally, and while they're in the bank, the policeman sees their car. So SEIZE, not like visualize
Yes.
the car. They take the car. So when they come out, the getaway car is gone. So they take it on foot. Now, coincidentally, Fields is walking near the bank, and by pure dumb luck, his park bench tilts over and stops one of the thieves, Loudmouth McNasty, and recovers the stolen cash. This story is quickly exaggerated by Sousé, and the town, he apparently, later on, the guy had a huge gun. He had a huge knife.
Yes.
There was fighting and all of that, when in fact, he just fell on the guy. And the town celebrates Sousé, and he is invited to the bank to be officially thanked. He goes home, tells the story to his family. They don't care. As a matter of fact, they're mad at him for saving a bank that owns their mortgage. They say that bank has been bothering us for their money. It's just like you to save that bank.
It's the story of the luckiest man.
He is really, really in a tough way in every angle of his life. And good things keep happening to him.
Yes.
But no one in the family can appreciate it. So Og, on the other hand, is very excited, and based on an upcoming bonus plan that he's going to get, in the end of the week, he's going to get a bonus at the bank. He actually plans to marry Egbert Sousé's daughter. So Sousé goes in to meet with Mr. Skinner, the bank president. Obviously, I think a play on a skinflint, meaning someone tight, Mr.
Okay.
Skinner. He can't get past the teller, but eventually meets the bank president and was rewarded with a calendar, which I think is funny because it's essentially a nude woman as far as they can go in 1940, and a hearty hand clasp. And I don't know why the hearty hand clasp joke makes me laugh every time.
Yes, I'm right there with you.
It is. Let's take a look.
And I wish
It's the
to
close-up that
personally
works,
give
too.
Yeah.
A hearty hand clasp.
Oh, thanks. Hearty hand clasp.
That
And they do it twice.
that's my new way of greeting people.
It's literally disgusting the way he does it, but it is just it's a sight gag. It almost looks in review like they did it in reverse, like filmed in reverse, like the hand was together and then he
Right.
pulled it out because it's so delicate. But he also rewards him with a job as, here it comes, a bank dick. And they're going to use his salary to offset the mortgage money that he owes the bank. So in a way, I'm sure his family is going to be disappointed that he's helping the bank, but that's how it works out. So he starts his first day at the bank by grabbing an early morning drink at the Black Pussy Cafe. Now, I have a checkered past when it comes to alcohol. I'm dry now, but I've never felt the best way to start a day, even at my worst. The best way to start a day is going to a cafe for a drink before 10 in the morning, and yet he does. So here we get another great plot twist. He's at the cafe bragging about his new job, and he gets approached by J. Throffingham Waterbury. Waterbury lays on a lot of thick double talk and hooks Sousé into buying a ton of worthless stock certificates. The monologue that Worthington does about water flowing by his house, cold beer, it's just a beautiful thing, and Fields gets sucked in totally. So he's very excited that he's going to make a lot of money, ostensibly, and he goes to the bank to try to sell Og Ogleby on the idea. He tries to repeat the pitch, does badly, and gets nothing right. And he tries to talk Ogden by talking about a balloon ascensionist. And the fable gets totally wrong, and eventually he says, don't wait too long in life. And he talks Og into prematurely taking his upcoming bonus from the bank's funds, which is stealing, because he intends to pay it back. And this is my favorite line in the entire picture.
Borrow the $500 from the bank. You intend to pay it back when your bonus comes due, don't you?
Oh, sure.
Surely. Don't be a luddy-duddy. Don't be a moon calf. Don't be a jabbernowl. You're not those, are you?
No. Well, I guess there's no way you could confuse it with stealing, is there?
Nothing could be more absurd.
Well, all right, send him in.
You won't be here till 11 o'clock.
So a luddy-duddy does not exist anywhere on the internet. All I can guess is that it is either a bastardization of fuddy-duddy, meaning someone old, or a Luddite, which is someone who refuses to embrace new technology. So that could be what a luddy-duddy is. A mooncalf is from Shakespeare, meaning a silly or foolish person, and a jabbernowl is also a foolish person. But another example of Fields just playing with words in a way that I think is more for him than anyone else. So Og agrees and makes the underhanded deal, and already you know something's got to go wrong. You just feel bad because Og is just totally ineffective at everything he does.
Right.
And at that very moment, we meet the best, if you look at, I guess you look at Fields as the protagonist. The antagonist of the bank examiner enters. And the bank examiner is great against Fields. They worked a lot together. His name, the actor, is Franklin Pangborn, but he plays J. Pinkerton Snoopington. Now, a Pinkerton was a private investigator back in the day, another play name. And Og sees the bank examiner, panics, and blames Sousé. And it's one of the movie's greatest supporting performances because Snoopington is precise, he is prissy, he is formal, he is meticulous. He is what would be called, in the day, without going into labeling anyone's sexual preferences, he was a sissy character. And even though he's married, he's definitely a sissy character. And this was a comedic trope back in the day. Everything about him irritates Egbert Sousé, and their verbal exchanges are just masterpieces of comic contrast. Snoopington speaks so delicately, and Egbert just growls at him like with contempt. And it's got bureaucracy versus chaos, and it's a great relationship where they're up against each other. Meanwhile, Og is panicked, and he confesses the scam to Myrtle. And I'm still thinking, all this fuss over $500. It's not a lot of money, but still, he feels he's going to get fired. So Sousé goes to action. Egbert takes Snoopington to the Black Pussy for a drink against the judgment of the examiner's best judgment. And he goes up to the bartender, and Sousé says, if there's going to be a visit from Michael Finn. And he says, oh, there will be. Now, did that mean anything to you? Again, we're talking 1940s and 1930s. Okay. A Mickey Finn is poison that you would slip into someone's drink. And, if you slip them a Mickey or slip them a Mickey Finn, that means it's going to either kill them or make them very sick. So they put a poison powder of some sort into Pinkerton's drink, and he immediately takes horribly ill. He starts offering him all sorts of horrible food to make him feel even sicker, then walks him back to the hotel, to the New Old Lompoc house to recover. And just a really great understated gag when he walks him up to his room, and then Sousé comes back out into the lobby and then walks him in again because he fell out the window. It's not anything overstated.
Right.
It's just great. And then he gets on the phone, has trouble with the operator. Great joke. They keep telling him to speak louder. He says, if I talked any louder, I wouldn't need the phone. And he calls the doctor. Snoopington comes to the doctor in the hotel, and they prescribe rest and huge pills. He should be laid up for 4 days. And the other prescription, again playing to the sissy character, just be happy and be gay. And don't think that was an accident line either, because Fields knew every word he was doing. Meanwhile, back at the bank, he's continuing to be the bank dick and, taking care of anyone who appears to be a threat.
What do you mean? Dear,
Is that gun loaded?
certainly not. But I think you are.
Mommy, doesn't that man have a funny nose?
You wasn't make fun of the gentleman, Clifford. You'd like to have a nose like that full of nickels, wouldn't you?
I'll throw him in the waste paper basket the next time.
So also part of Fields' character, he hates children. So that was great that they threw that in there, was just a little kid in a cowboy outfit. He gets dressed down for behaving like that, and also for being so oftenly seen at the Black Pussy. So things are not going great at the bank. And while they're there, Snoopington shows up. And despite feeling horrible, Sousé is assigned to assist him, even though the bank examiner is still very sick. So he does everything he can to distract him. He crushes his hand in a letterpress. By the way, in my entire life, outside of a slapstick movie in the 1940s, never have I seen a letterpress, which is that thing with the big wheel that you can use to make stuff flat. I don't know why anyone would have it, but things like that and quicksand and Limburger cheese seem to be much more important in the 1940s than they are in modern times.
It reminded me of one of the folding machines. You've used the folding machines.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, right?
So
Where
maybe
it'll
it's
fold
like
for an
that.
envelope.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe it is like that. But I mean, that takes up a lot of real estate on your desk.
Yeah.
Is the letterpress.
It does.
But great for a gag. He crushes his hand, but it turns out Snoopington is left-handed. He breaks his glasses on purpose, finds out Snoopington carries like 5 extra pairs of glasses, and the bank examiner is starting to catch on. But at that very moment, newspaper comes out, and those worthless those worthless stock certificates for the beefsteak mines actually mature for big money. So actually, Og is now a millionaire. But before that happens, the crook that sold them tries to buy them back for half the money. And he goes back, and they think if he gets the money, the bank examiner is no longer the problem. But luckily, Fields finds out in time that the stock certificates are priceless, and he gets them back, and Og is going to be rich, and the problem at the bank is solved. However, at that very time, the other bank robber, named Repulsive Rogan, returns and steals everything from the bank, including the stock certificates. So now, trouble again. So the robber grabs Sousé and makes him drive the getaway car, resulting in really an amazing car chase.
I love the car chase.
It is so excellent. And I mean, for someone who was brought up with the magic of, say, the Rockford Files or even the Dukes of Hazzard, this is a great, though comedic, car race.
And any type
Chase.
of driving a car in front of a projector is
Yeah.
just fun.
But there are a lot of practical gags too, which
are.
really it works. So the greatest thing about the car chase is Sousé stays calm the whole time, even though they're running into things and going off the road. The wheels are coming off, and he's just making really quite quiet comments. And like his hat blows off, so he backs up in slow motion to pick up his hat. When he drives over a pit that has road workers with pickaxes that are all in synchronized going up and down, and he drives over it and none of them get hit until the very end. He says to wash the windshield. He hands him the actual windshield. Slows down when he sees a blonde on the road just to say, "Hiya, toots." And then a great line. He says, I mean, the car is in pieces. He says, "I hope you realize the resale value of this car will be nil." And that's because the car falls apart and seizes, allowing the recovery of the bank funds, the stocks, and here's the surprise ending. The motion picture company loved his idea of the circus picture and offered him a contract as a director and a $10,000 bonus. This man can't help but get lucky. So he's now a very wealthy man. He gets another hearty hand clasp. Let's look at that footage one more time just because it's fun.
And I wish to personally give you a hearty hand clasp.
Oh, thanks.
He gets a hearty hand clasp, and he is now a very wealthy man. His house is beautiful. His family has become polite and elegant and happy and living well.
Because money fixes everything.
Money does fix everything. And Fields exits for work with his famous hat and cane gag, which, trust me, I've tried to duplicate. It's impossible, where he puts his cane on his shoulder and then puts his hat on, but the hat goes on the cane. It's just very deft physical comedy. He uses it all the time. And then as he's walking to work, he spots Joe the bartender. And so instead of work, he goes to the Black Pussy Cafe. The end. And that is the bank dick. And I know that's a lot of plot, but keep in mind, that's a lot of plot in 70 minutes. That movie moves.
They don't worry about how you transition from one scene to another. It just goes.
Yeah, really the only transition element they use is the bar, is the Black Pussy Cafe.
Yeah.
That's what makes him leave the film. That's what makes him end the film. That's where he takes the bank examiner. So that's the plot of the movie. I hope you watched the movie before you joined us today, because then it will make more sense, or maybe it won't. Let's take a short break, and when we return, we'll get Josh's thoughts and also some things about Fields that you may not know, and why I think, we've not discussed this, why I think we both feel this movie was important to future comedies as much as it was at the current time. So we'll see. This is Hix Nix Stix Pix, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Hix Nix Stix Pix, and I am Rob Spiewak.
I'm still Josh.
He is still Josh, and we are still discussing the 1940 W.C. Fields movie, The Bank Dick. And I think, Josh, the very fact that you watched it makes you deserve a hearty hand clasp.
The hearty hand clasp is so awkward.
It is really bad. And to me, a really sort of modern gag. Because you know what? In the 40s, they didn't do like cringe jokes. And
No,
that's a cringe joke right there.
It reminds me of like the SNL bit with the baby hands.
Yes, exactly.
Because the hands look so fake and it's so awkward.
So before we start on your thoughts, some things about W.C. Fields you may not have known. He started, believe it or not, as a juggler. And if you've ever seen the juggling act, in addition to, like people juggling pins or juggling balls or anything, where people take something that looks like cigar boxes and they hold like two cigar boxes with a cigar box in the middle and they throw them around. It's a very specialized type of juggling. That's what he was known for. Then he began to develop the character of the child-hating, drunkard know-it-all, became very popular. He was a notorious alcoholic on stage, on screen, and in real life.
So that's why he played it so well.
It didn't hurt. Now, this was his second to last movie, or as they would say, his penultimate film. So what we're seeing is definitely latter-day Fields here, and he was trying to sort of correct his health at this point, but it was too late. One of the reasons that his nose was so big is they're called gin blossoms in the old days, is that when you would drink, that's where the band got the name, your capillaries in your nose would burst and swell and become red. So if you see younger pictures of him, his nose wasn't small, but it wasn't always like a red light bulb either. So he did drink a lot. They discovered in the 1930s, he had hundreds of cases of liquor, true story, in his attic. And they went to him, they said, Bill Fields, they said, Bill, prohibition is over. He said, I know, but it might come back. So he was that troubled. And also on his deathbed, he was visited by Groucho Marx after a life really not that nicely lived. He was in bed on his deathbed. Groucho came in and found, surprisingly, W.C. Fields reading his Bible. And he said, Bill, what are you doing with the Bible? He said, looking for loopholes. So he knew that he'd lived sort of a unsavory life, but it translated well to the screen. He wasn't as cruel, overly cruel as he appeared, but he was an amazing physical comic, a wonderful wordsmith, and someone who drank a lot. It makes me wonder, his last two films, this and I believe Never Give a Sucker an Even Break might have been his last movie. But his last two films are really, really fine. It makes me wish he had lived longer to see where it would have gone. He was, at this point, the golden child at Universal, and they were letting him have like total control of the movies, with the exception of, when they had to censor him. Now, going into this, that being said, Josh, as a younger man than me and someone who doesn't follow older movies, did you have any notion or understanding of what or who W.C. Fields was or is?
No, and I was not looking forward to this movie because it was another black and white from the 40s that I've never heard of.
Right.
And never heard of the person that you're praising in it.
Right.
So,
but
now, you want the butt?
Yeah, but when you watched it, I mean, I know that, I'm curious, you said on the Mike O'Mara show that there were parts of it you didn't hate, which to me is a rave.
Well,
when did you turn on it? Because when you open it up, it starts a little slow.
I'll tell you, here's my first notes.
Okay.
This is a weird start.
Yeah.
The movie is starting with them trying to pronounce his mailbox.
Yes.
And now they're arguing at the table, and his daughter's threatening suicide because she's already tried it once.
That's right. It was Myrtle.
So
Merkel, yeah.
That was my first notes where I was like, what is this stupid movie?
Yeah, and that's before you even get to see the star.
I know nothing about what's going on. That's how the movie starts.
Okay, cool.
Now, once W.C. Fields comes into play, he starts to grow on me. And he grows on me because what I see is Bill Murray. I see Bill Murray comedy all throughout this.
You see, that's so funny. That's different than what I see. What I see is Rodney.
Rodney works as well, but I think
the template for Rodney Dangerfield movies.
I think Rodney works in that as well. I think Bill Murray kind of takes a lot of that Rodney stuff.
Yeah,
as well.
I can see that, because what he is this is a movie where the protagonist he's not sympathetic, but you feel sorry for him. If you can draw a line, you're not exactly rooting for him,
but you're not.
But God, everything is against him. No, he's not.
Right.
Deep down, even though he is troubled with his vices, he really does want to be a better person. Yeah. He wants Ogleby to be rich.
So I turned on it because it's a stupid old black and white movie.
Right.
But it made me laugh.
I'm glad. I'm glad it did.
I like the director chair tip-in because the build up, and so many times where you're like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then it not only does it happens when it's like up on a ledge. So he falls even further.
And it takes forever. Now, I won't cite any names, but I've been in bars with people that have had too much to drink. And when they fall down, a really drunk person takes a long time to fall down.
Yes.
And there was one time in New Orleans when a guy we were with started to fall down, and my father and I said, let's get out of here. And we paid our check and got out of the bar before he was done falling.
Oh, yeah, because
it can be a long, it can be a long, long escapade. You get the feeling that he is never out of his mind drunk in this movie. Fields never loses control, but never is he sober either. He just sort of maintains his drunkenness.
But he is the type of drunk you like.
Yes.
He's happy, go lucky.
Yeah.
He's the mistakes he's making is not because he's drunk. It's because he's an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's because he pays no mind to the world around him.
I'm trying to think if there's a modern example of a movie, a comedy movie, maybe the Scary Movie franchise, where it has a plot running through it, but is essentially comedy vignettes, bump, bump, bump. Because in this, the first vignette is things are miserable at the house. Then there's the vignette with the chauffeur, which gets paid off later. Then there's the vignette on the set of the movie, which also gets paid off. That's another thing that's brilliant, is that this movie, with so many what looks like loose plot lines, they're all tied up in the last scene and satisfactory.
And that's one of my notes, is the movie makes no sense. It goes from scene to scene to scene, but they did it. It would have been very easy to do a title card to be like, now he's a director. Title card, now he's a bank dick.
Yeah, exactly.
But they blended it all together where the whole time you're like, how did we get here? And it's like, oh, because he ran into someone at the bar.
Exactly. That's where the Black Pussy Cafe is sort of like the linchpin of holding it all together, which is an odd device, but it seems to work.
And he is the friendliest guy in town.
Oh, so I know.
Everyone knows him. Everyone knows him as a drunk, but also everybody loves him, except his family.
Yeah, and it's sort of a dig at, it's 1940, it's before the war, the big war. It was in all the papers, World War II.
Yeah, before everything changed.
Well, after World War II is when towns sort of gave way to being suburbs, and you didn't really live in a city, and the communities were split. Although I think it was starting to happen, and the movie Lompoc is sort of a, I mean, without getting too deep, a criticism of society at the point. Everyone knew everybody at the time in a town. And, I'm going to go over to see what's his name at the bank. I know his name. Or I'm going to go see someone at the bar. I know his name.
Yeah.
Or, he even credits the guy that runs the movie show. They talk about the Mexican restaurant. And it is a close-knit community and something we don't see anymore. And he's not necessarily in favor of it because everybody's all up in everybody's business. Yeah. But it's a good comment there, too.
I like this better than the Three Stooges because the Three Stooges is gag, 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 gag.
Right.
This there's room to breathe, and there's dialogue, and the dialogue is funny. The dialogue is just perfect for this drunk-go-lucky guy. Like when he first meets the auditor, and he says he has a daughter that's 18. And he's like, I'd like to meet her.
Exactly.
I like children between 18 and 20. And it's so
it's
wrong.
It's absolutely wrong.
It's definitely wrong, but it's so perfect for that guy that it makes you laugh.
His precision in his wording is brilliant. And I think that because he scripted the other people's words as well, they come off better than they might have otherwise. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the old black and white Popeye cartoons, the first ones that were made. And Popeye just mumbled the entire time. And you didn't need to hear what Popeye was saying to understand the plot. But if you really zone in and listen, there's some jokes there. And they use that with him. There's so many under his breath things he says, or things that he says that sort of trail off. The joke about the 18 to 20-year-old girls is, again, inappropriate, but delivered in such a soft, off-the-hand way, you almost miss it.
Well, there's a lot of jokes like that. Like in the bar, when the auditor says, "Can I pull the shade?" And his response is, "You can pull anything you want."
Exactly.
Like, it's just quick little jabs that are in there that I hate that I enjoyed this movie.
You mustn't hate
I enjoyed
that.
it because of the dialogue.
Yeah, it's very precise. And also, I can imagine when this came out, it was probably really well regarded. I didn't look at any of the original reviews, but you've got the clever dialogue, and also you've got great sight gags, which was, they play them big like they did in the old days. It's a funny plot, but also you have something in this that you don't get much anymore, which is when the movie starts, if you're familiar with his work, so I have to exclude you from this, but I'm talking about the average moviegoer in 1940.
Okay.
They knew Fields' character. They knew his persona. Yeah. He'd made 30 movies before this, basically all playing the same thing.
Right.
So the jokes are sort of set. Yeah.
Those people that went to the movies in 1940, they're all dead now.
Yeah, they are. Well, many of them.
Well, yeah, most.
Everyone in the movie is dead. I know that. But that gives you, because they say, and the same thing goes for people that do impressions, is they say there's no great movie stars anymore. And if you think about it, it's hard to come up with someone nowadays that going into a movie, you know exactly the role they're going to play. Even someone like, you were talking about it before we recorded, Nate Bargatze, and what's it called?
Well, he's only got that one movie.
But what's it called? Daddy Day, Daughter Day, or something like that? Breadwinner.
Yeah,
Breadwinner.
Nothing like what you were saying.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you go in and see The Breadwinner, you know what you're going to see with Nate Bargatze. You just do, because he is that. But if you
that
go
only
and see,
works in comedies.
You're right. Because if you go in and you see like a George Clooney movie, he makes a lot of great movies, but he's different. There's subtle differences in all the movies. Sometimes he's strong, sometimes he's weak. There's different variants.
Or like right now, Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of everything Jason Bateman's in because he plays the same exact character.
Yeah, it's different when you play the same character every time and you don't want to see that character.
Right.
But you want to see more. You want to see more of Fields. And
it's a Adam Sandler type thing. You know what you're getting.
That's a perfect example. It is a perfect example because Adam Sandler and his movies he hasn't made Citizen Kane yet, although some words could be said for Happy Gilmore 2. I liked it very much.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Happy Gilmore 2.
But what he does is consistently bring good product to the table that you're going to be okay with, except maybe remote control.
Click. That would be called Click.
Oh, I'm sorry, Click. Maybe I saw the foreign version of it.
But yes, remote control is not very good.
Yeah. Another thing is you mentioned Bill Murray. Have you ever seen the Rodney Dangerfield movie Easy Money?
No.
Okay. Easy Money, the plot of is Rodney is a baby photographer, not a very good one, who runs around with Joe Pesci, and they get into all their wacky drunken adventures, and he gets left a huge amount of money if he can play it straight for like 30 days with no drinking, no whoring, nothing. And so that's the whole plot of the movie. And at the end, he gets the money and the family is happy and all is well. But at the last scene of Easy Money, he walks away from his family in their beautiful new home, being perfectly happy, back to his old friends. And they realize he hasn't changed at all. And that's the exact same ending that the Bank Dick has. That Fields plays the fact that he has been reformed. His mother-in-law likes him. His wife loves him. His kids are back in love with him. But his first thought when he leaves the house is to go back to the bar. Oh. That's one of the reasons why I thought that Rodney is so much like W.C. Fields.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen enough Rodney Dangerfield movies. I've seen Caddyshack, Ladybugs, and that might be it.
Not Meet Wally Sparks.
I did not see Meet Wally Sparks. And he was in the aforementioned Adam Sandler. He was in Little Nicky.
That's true.
So I saw him there as well.
I recommend you look at Easy Money because it was I think it might have been Rodney's first starring feature, but you'll see definite parallels. But even if you just look at Rodney on stage, the whole no respect thing.
Right.
I don't get no respect. My wife hates me.
the match.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And
you know what?
He was more unapologetic about it, but Fields was a little more subtle that you've got basically a guy who's doing his best.
Right.
And nothing's going his way.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think it's the dry delivery of
Yes.
funny lines that got me with Bill Murray.
I can see that. Yeah. I'm trying to think what would be the best parallel movie for Bill Murray to this one, where he plays someone who is sort of, the world is against him. Yeah. But he definitely, the offhanded stuff. I'm a big fan of comics and movies where the joke is almost like an afterthought. It's like the last part of a sentence and it sort of fades into the next line. And that is where Fields is at his best. Now, you mentioned earlier the Three Stooges. If they're going to have a funny line, they're going to punch, punch, punch. They're going to make sure you hear it. This one almost, don't get mad at me, this one almost requires a second viewing. Maybe not for you. But if you really want to get the most of it, you want to watch all of it. Now, it was a screaming success for Universal, to a fact that at least one time, I believe it was an Abbott and Costello movie, it might have been called In Society. The closing of In Society 4 or 5 years later, they basically reused the entire car chase sequence, just inserting shots of Abbott and Costello because it was so well done.
It's a great car chase.
It is. And does it make you laugh and wonder about doing a car chase like that? It seems like it would be so much easier with modern cars. And they're all doing these modern chases with 2-ton old cars that, just impossible to maneuver, I'm sure. But it's great when they break up because they were built like tanks. And Fields' running dialogue in the car chase is fantastic. I know I mentioned it.
He has a line there about these roads are pretty busy for country roads or something.
Exactly.
And it's like because of all the police chasing them.
I know. It is. For something that can be as broad as the sight gags in this, the movie, the comedic spine of it, I will say, is subtle. And I think that's one of the reasons why it ages so well. Now, why do you think it is, and I have no answer for this, why do you think it is that W.C. Fields is not as remembered as other classic comics of his era?
Well, I can't answer that because I don't know more than this, but I know you're right. It inspired Dangerfield. It had to inspire Bill Murray. And then the other person that is excellent at the dry humor like this guy would be David Letterman.
Yes,
and
exactly.
I think the way he responds is during interviews, and what made him great was the same type of character.
And again, Letterman will oftentimes, not so much in interviews and when he's doing interviews, but when he's doing his stand-up, he will paint himself as the victim as well.
Right.
And not in a way that not like a poor, pitiful me type victim. It's just like, God, everything happens to this guy. Yeah. And that's why I have a hard time drawing a line between sympathetic and pitiful, but definitely Fields walks that line perfectly with precision.
I think it's the black and white in that it was almost 100 years ago.
That doesn't hurt. It's time capsule stuff. And it reminds me that this movie is in many ways ahead of its time with its tone. You could remake this movie, not as broadly, but the banking plot is good. The fact that the money is borrowed against, without knowing that the balance is coming, and the bank examiner. I don't know if you could pull it off with the movie subplot and the chauffeur subplot and all that stuff, even though it all wraps up at the end. The notion of the bank, for lack of a better word, larceny, is a nice little plot device. And the fact that he fast talks his future son-in-law, who he doesn't hate, he's really trying to do well by him, just in a stupid way.
He thinks it's a good idea.
He really does. And it's explained that, the phone company once sold for 5 cents, this sells for 10 cents. So it could easily be twice as valuable as the phone company. Right. Well, what is even a beefsteak mine? No one ever explains what it is, but he buys them all.
I assume it's another just joke that there's a mine somewhere where no need for cows anymore.
Well, I was thinking more, well, beefsteak is a variety of tomatoes. So I'm always thinking it's like a garden, but it wouldn't be a mine. I don't know. So I come away from this, Josh, as a winner. And I'll tell you why. Because you really didn't want to watch it, and yet you watched it and you didn't hate it, which is great. And
it's unfortunate.
I love the fact it is très unfortunate, as the French would say. I love the fact that this was one where I'm not going to take credit, but it did allow you to see something you wouldn't have seen otherwise.
And I think it's the first black and white I'm going to give a positive score to.
See, this pleases me greatly. Before we ask your score, I don't know. This is why we did the whole podcast.
No, exactly.
I was brought up, as you were, in a time when we had 4, maybe 5 channels on television.
Right.
And they would fill the day with movies like this because they didn't have original programming. I watched these movies growing up because they were on TV. Now, if you want them, as you know, by the way, where did you find this? Was it hard to stream?
Where did I find it? No, Apple TV.
Apple TV, okay.
$3.99 rental Apple TV.
It's worth it. $3.99 is worth it.
I always go there that's my first place I look for these movies because they're generally restored and less compression and stuff on there.
Or you could, of course, buy volume 1 of the 2-volume W.C. Fields Comedy Classics set. I have them both. But either way, you have to seek these out now. And because of that, I think that's one of the reasons why they're harder to be accessible. But still, I think more people know the Three Stooges, the Marx Brothers, Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello even, than W.C. Fields. And that to me is a little criminal because he really holds his own against them. And he's different. He's not typical for 1940s comedy. There's a subtlety there. So I think that's a shame. So if you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're listening to
The Three Stooges transitioned to television.
And
that's
you're right.
Probably what extended them.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's funny you bring that up, Groucho too, because Groucho had a quiz show in the 1960s that went into reruns even to when I was a kid.
Right, exactly. And that's what it is. It's that syndication and reruns.
But Fields died in, I think, 44 or 45. And so he didn't have the legacy to follow up with. Also, and this is just me theorizing, he was not the most agreeable to work with studio people. So maybe the studio people, once he passed, didn't feel the need to prolong his career. Right. Yeah, because he was a pain. He was a pain.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. There's another hand where it's like, hey, we could now make money off this dead guy.
True, but they had a lot of new content at the time. Again, it's just a theory. He didn't do anything to make it easy for the studios to prolong his career. I will say that.
I'll say this movie structure is simple enough that if I was one of these YouTubers, this is what I would just try to recreate this movie because it's too simple.
It is
for it to remake as a blockbuster.
You're right.
But a YouTuber could make this and get pretty good clicks.
I would say it would even work as a Netflix thing. If you got a funny cast, it could be a star-driven vehicle. You just have to find someone. If you could get Bill Murray to play Egbert Sousé,
then you can extend it into 2 hours.
Of course, it would be fantastic. Yes. All right. So, having discussed the hell out of this movie, I'm pleased that you're at least not disparaging it. You have parts that you like of it. Out of 10, 10 being the best possible score, how many bubbles in a bathtub do you give The Bank Dick?
Oh, I don't give it any bubbles in a bathtub. I was going to give it 6 hearty clasps.
6 hearty hand clasps?
Yes.
Let's once again take a look.
Hand clasp, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I give you a hearty hand clasp.
Oh, thanks.
So 6 hearty hand clasps. I have to give this a 9. I just love it. I love every frame of it. It is just so well done. And I think I give it a bonus point because it's underappreciated.
And 6 is not a bad score for me.
No, not at all.
For a 1940 movie, 6 is pretty good, I think.
And I think it would have been a 5 if it had been any longer because it's only 70 minutes long.
In color, it might have been an 8.
Yeah, living color. Well, maybe we can colorize it. But after all, AI tried to colorize every picture you did, right?
No, it tried to blur out every picture of
it tried to blur out. And I want to give special credit to our technical staff, our huge technical staff, for putting together this week's graphics. Josh, you did great. I think they're good.
I like the little graphic.
I do. Now, this is my favorite part of the show and Josh's least favorite part of the show.
Yes, this is the part I dread every week.
Now,
but I know it's not black and white, though.
No, we have a new standing agreement where we can only alternate. You can't do 2 black and whites in a row. I could do 2 color ones in a row, but not 2 black and white ones in a row.
Someone messaged this week
saying,
hey, where do I go pay to pick a movie? And I sent him the link, and I was like, you can't be any worse than what Rob's been picking.
No,
but then I realized that's almost a challenge.
Yeah, it is. And I think I'm sort of what did it say on a driver's license? I have plus points this week because you liked this one and you liked Cannonball Run.
You're right. You got 2 in a row that I have enjoyed.
So let's ruin it right now. If everybody has listened before, you know this, but this is honest to God truth. I hold in my hand a sealed envelope, and it says on it, Hix Nix to be open 6/11/20 Pix.
I still don't understand why you seal the envelope.
Because it makes it more fun. It makes it more fun. And before we open the envelope, Josh has no idea what's within.
Nope.
Except that it's in color. To all you Hix Stix Nix Pixies out there, remember, please visit our website, follow us on YouTube, click all the things, smash the like button. As kids say.
And share the show, share YouTube, tell people about it, tag us on socials, because this is a weird show.
It is a weird show. We need your help to sort of boost it. I do feel that the people that listen enjoy it. I think the people that listen get it. And so we want you to check it out and make sure you spread the word.
Love to hear other people's thoughts as we review movies. I want to know what you think about The Bank Dick.
I agree. And I hope that it's a good argument, because I know there'll be people on both sides. And I think right now, is it 200 if you want to pick the movie we review?
It's 200, yes. 2,000 to cancel a movie.
And 200,000 to cancel the podcast.
And I would like someone to, if you run into me in public, just a hearty hand clasp.
Yes, it's always good to be, courteous to people.
And I wish to personally give you a hearty hand clasp.
Oh, thanks.
Now, I know this is exciting because in a little more than a week, I'll actually see you at Jimmy's. Mike will be there too. And we can all exchange a hearty hand clasp.
Yes.
Actually, I think that might, Josh, for us be a good viral video. Just a short video of a hearty hand clasp.
I think that's a good idea.
You and I. All right, back to the movie. Just make sure you visit our website.
Complete with the close-up.
That is HIXNIXSTIXPIX.com. Hix Nix Stix Pix. And remember our motto, the name of the show is great. Okay, let's open the envelope. Josh has no idea what's in here.
No.
It's a podcast about Rob's movies. I will ask you this.
What's the year? Why don't you start
right now?
Telling me the year?
It's 2026.
No,
you know that.
No, the year in that envelope.
Oh, before I tell you the year, we've watched horror movies. No, let's draw this out. We've watched horror movies.
All right, I thought you were bringing back another old actor.
No. We've watched musicals. We've watched comedies. We've watched a Western.
We've watched dramas.
We have. And we've also seen a lot of my favorite stars. We've seen the Marx Brothers. We've seen, we've not seen Jerry Lewis.
I'm not reviewing an adult movie with you.
It's not an adult movie. I'm just curious if you could guess one particular movie star that I'm very fond of that we haven't even mentioned on the show yet.
A movie star.
Not just a movie star, but a movie star among his many talents. Oh, it's a man. I just revealed it.
Oh. I don't
You have no guess?
You lost me.
The year is 1964.
Then I don't even know who this guy is.
You do. The movie is Viva Las Vegas, starring Elvis Presley, Anne Margaret, William Demarest, Cesar Danova, and of course, Jack
we had a
Carter.
no Elvis rule.
Who made that rule?
I did about 30 seconds ago.
Now, I want to tell you how great this movie is. That a lot of times I'll hold up the Blu-ray or the DVD. This is my VHS copy of Viva Las Vegas, and Josh, this is going to have what I call Bank Dick syndrome, because although you look at it and you say, Elvis movie, it is Elvis's greatest film. And I'm talking about his concert film. I was in love with that movie Epic that just came out.
I'm way more intrigued by Epic, but if you say I'll have some BDS.
Yeah, Bank Dick syndrome. You're going to love this, and I'll tell you, there's one word that means that you will love it, and that is Anne Margaret. That's not 2 words, it's a hyphenated name. She is, do I dare say it? She's a knockout.
I thought I'm supposed to like this because of Elvis.
He's very good too. What you've got here are glorious... What?
Is there a storyline or is it just music?
Absolutely. just like so many Elvis movies, I bet you there's 10 Elvis movies that could start with this plot description. Elvis plays a singer/race car driver. But he's going to win a race in Las Vegas. The color cinematography is gorgeous. It's widescreen, good-looking cast, funny script, great music, and wonderful period shots of Las Vegas at the time. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Almost like a travelogue with rock and roll.
There's no way I'm going to enjoy this.
There's 100% chance you're going to love it. I'm not making you watch King Creole or Jailhouse Rock that are like dramas. This is lighthearted with a good-looking broad in it.
All right. We'll see how it goes. I watch him anyway.
I know. And here's what you should know.
I give him a chance.
It was directed by George Sidney. It's only an hour 25. How can you go wrong?
Well, it sounds about 25 minutes too long, but
well,
okay.
Maybe an hour 20 if you skim through the credits. There's no funny names in the credits, so you don't have to worry about that.
All right,
so, folks, that's what we got coming up. And always, please watch the movie before you listen, because I think you'll enjoy our discussion of it.
Or after.
Or during. Or instead
I would say go ahead and watch The Bank Dick.
Yeah, well, thanks. That's really high praise for our listeners, and I know you support everything we do, Josh. But in all seriousness,
some you might want to skip. The Bank Dick, go ahead and watch.
Watch that. Skip Frankenstein.
Definitely.
I guess skip Return to Oz. That was unsavory.
No, show that to your little kids.
Only when they misbehave.
Give them nightmares.
Yeah, and if they don't like, and if they're still misbehaving, take them to see Back Rooms.
Yes.
Or or the Adam Sandler movie that I called Remote Control.
Well, I'm looking forward to the sequel, Front Rooms.
Front Rooms would be very good. Dining Room, it's a whole thing.
Right.
It could be like the movie Clue. All right, Josh, thank you so much for putting up with my black and white nonsense. You're going to like this Elvis movie. I promise.
I can't wait.
You're going to love it. So next week, Viva Las Vegas on Hix Nix Stix Pix. Make sure you visit our website. Make sure you visit the YouTube page. Click all the things. Am I missing anything?
Nope. HixNixStixPix.com gets you everywhere.
All right. We will talk to you next week. Have a great week, everybody.
Hix Nix Stix Pix, a podcast about Rob's movies with Rob Spewak and Josh Sroka.
AI guy.